New threat to rideshare drivers. No matter how long we do this, how much information we present, there is always that additional case where a driver is victimized and the details continue to be shocking. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. I simply cannot believe this shit. I want you to hear the details of this story. Yes, a driver was victimized. May never forget what happened to him, but listen to the details concerning the assailants.
County police arresting two kids in connection to the Crozet carjacking back in April. CBS 19's Felicity Taylor talked to the detective who made the arrest. She joins us now with more. Felicity.
Dan, these kids were 13 and 14 years old. They're charged with carjacking, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and possession of firearms by someone under 18. Detective Jordan Weavy says the kids took a Lyft rideshare to Crozet, where they then put a gun to their driver's head and then took the car. They abandoned the driver, and the car was later recovered in Waynesboro. One of the things that may have stood out to you is the age of the alleged offenders. I spoke to the detective on the case, and he says, sadly, it's not that big of a surprise to them anymore.
Most of the crime and that kind of sphere that we're dealing with is predominantly 13, 14. They're juveniles. We do what we can on our end to put together a comprehensive case file and submit that to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, and at that point, it's out of our hands.
I did talk to the Albemarle County Commonwealth's attorney, Jim Hinchley, and he says punishments will depend on the specifics of this case. He declined to comment any further. Detective Weavy also says he's seen plenty of stolen cars lately. In his 2.5 years in the unit, every stolen car was either unlocked or the keys were inside of it. He advises everybody to lock their car all the time. In the studio, Felicity Taylor, CBS 19 News.
Imagine that. Having your livelihood taken from you by a couple of middle schoolers, age 13, 14. What the hell is that, 6th or 7th grade? Maybe 8th grade? Now, you hear the police officer state in the video, they actually held a Lyft ride. How the hell did two middle schoolers get access to the app to hail a Lyft ride? So we obviously have an adult somewhere out there in the galaxy that needs some talking to, because you cannot get the proper authorization at the age of 13 or 14 to have access to Lyft. You need a credit card and things of that nature. So certainly there is someone else out there. And then obviously listening to the police officer, not only did they hail a Lyft ride, but they did use a firearm to commit this carjacking. Now, the two juveniles have been charged with carjacking, obviously, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and last but not least, possession or transportation of a firearm by someone under the age of 18. Class A, very serious felonies. However, the notion that kids are now getting in our cars and taking our shit just adds to the list of issues that driving in rideshare, whether driving for Uber or Lyft, continues to boggle the mind. What the hell are we doing for a living these days? Clearly something needs to be done, because this isn't going to stop. I've been doing the content on this media platform for about a year, and the types of crimes continue to get more heinous. Doesn't seem to be letting up, folks. So first piece of advice I'd give any driver, don't let juveniles in your shit. Certainly by themselves. Now, lots of parents will rent rides for kids coming back from school and things like that. I've had a dad rent the vehicle to take his child to the mom after he had his weekend. So you kind of want to judge this based on, I suppose, your own spidey senses of sorts. But when you show up to pick someone up, and the only thing by the curb is kids, drive the hell off. You should at least have some prior contact with an adult before children get in your vehicle. You need to know who the hell requested you to pick up kids. If the adult has not stepped into the conversation and stated anything, I wouldn't advise putting children in your ride. Even from a non-criminal standpoint, Let's say you're involved in an accident or something like that. I don't know if you may not face resistance from the ride-sharing companies because you do not supposed to put minors in your vehicle. It's right in the terms of service with both Uber and Lyft. In fact, what should be done is us drivers probably should report this shit to Uber and Lyft like they're trying to put minors in the car. Because if you just kick them out, then you're faced with Uber and Lyft trying to potentially deactivate you from the platform. So this really puts us in a conundrum because we understand both Uber and Lyft don't really give a shit about the drivers. Their whole focus is on getting the fare and pleasing the customer, even if the customer happens to be a juvenile. So if you reject a rider and you tell Uber or Lyft that was a juvenile, if the parents of that juvenile can state and orate a decent complaint, we all know they're going to side with the damn passengers. Passengers are telling the truth until proven otherwise. So understand that this does put you in a precarious position. My opinion, my advice, if you see juveniles, you're best to cancel the trip before they even get in the vehicle because that takes away them being able to file complaints and things like that on you. If they never got in the vehicle and you canceled the trip, that removes their ability to complain. So the minute you look them in the eye and you know they're younger than 17, no adults are around, I would say cancel the trip and drive off. It ain't worth the $10 fare, even from a standpoint of not having your shit taken at gunpoint. I just don't advise doing it. Let me know in the comments, folks. Do you feel comfortable picking up juveniles with no adult around? Is this something you engage in? Some folks might look at it like a fare is a fare. Yours truly, I'm not a fan of it. Show up to high school or something like that and you pick up kids. I'm just simply not a fan of it. Nowadays, some of these children have real ops. Put somebody in your damn car and all of a sudden somebody's throwing rocks at it to get at the kid or something. I'm not a fan of putting juveniles in a vehicle solo. But let me know in the comments what you folks think. Now, in regards to these two juveniles kidnapping the damn driver, the police officer, they were asked, like, what the hell's going to happen in regards to this? And the supposed district attorney, they call him the Commonwealth attorney out there, stated that the punishment will depend on the specifics of the case and declined to comment further. You put a pistol to the head of the driver, took his shit, and drove off. How much more specifics do you need? That's a Class A felony. Your humble opinion, at least until they're 21, period. At least until they're 21. It's hard to imagine a child, a 13 or 14-year-old, would do this for their first crime. My humble opinion, they've done some shit before. I don't know what type of example. I'm not a fan of over-incarceration. That's what we do in this country. We get to the point where we're too tough on crime. But to be only 13 or 14 years of age and brazen enough to do something like this shows you already are a hardened fucking criminal. Just to have a pistol on you at 13 or 14 shows you are already a hardened criminal. Now, you have the conundrum of, do you want to try to rehabilitate and save this child, or do you want to punish the shit out of him? While I want the ideal of him being made example of and being held to his 21 years of age, we have to realize putting these kids in the system for 7 or 8 years is just going to harden them even more. I don't know what the damn answer to this is other than to suggest you don't put them in your shit. Going to say something that's probably controversial. Nevertheless, you see what I look like? Chances are those kids look like that as well. Simply put, carjacking is a crime that is committed by a certain type of person, certain type of community. There are crimes that are committed by other communities, but carjacking is typically a crime that is committed by folks that look like me. I don't know what else to say other than stay safe out there. It's just continuing to get worse and worse. They're offering bonuses in my market, and you get out there and you drive, and certainly for a person like myself, when I'm covering these stories, I'm looking at everybody as if they suspect. I don't want to accidentally hurt somebody, but damn, this shit keeps happening. It's your boy Tim. Subscribe to the damn channel, and I'll see you in the next video.
Or for the love.